All right. So here it is. This is going to be the first of all, the first video podcast that I do. Um Usually my podcast is just completely audio. You can look on Spotify for podcasters. I have a podcast, Danny, Are You Okay? I talk about spiritual things there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I talk about spiritual stuff. And I do talk about my experiences as well, just in life, things that I'm feeling, anything that's on my mind pretty much is on there. Um, excuse the, I don't know if on the receiving end it's shown. I know on my end right now, the video quality, it's I like change the intensity and of the like computer screen, and now I don't know how to change it back. I don't think it affects what anyone sees on the receiving end. So whoever's watching this, if anyone watches this, I don't think anyone's gonna notice. But just in case, forgive me because I was playing around and I don't know how to undo this. I really have to learn more about tech. I realize that like a lot the more that I um have to deal with it. I'm like, wow, there's so much I don't know. So I don't know how to undo this. I don't know if it's shown on the end of like I said, on the receiving end. I don't know. Anyway, I'm on here because I want to do my first episode for true crime, my reaction to true crime stories that I've heard. I'm a true crime, I don't want to say fanatic, but I watch a lot. So I have a lot to say about some of the cases that I see, literally all the cases that I see, but like I have a lot to say, just a lot on my mind because and it's not unbelievable, but most people they don't talk about like the spiritual aspects behind the crimes and stuff, right? Because we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, that's written in Ephesians. So excuse the awkwardness because this is my first one, and I'm really trying to be mindful because I don't want the mic to be in the video because I feel like that now there's someone who does that already, and it looks good for her. Like that's a part of the aesthetic, but it's just not what I'm going for. So um yeah. And speaking of which, her name is Stephanie. So Rotten Mango is the true crime channel that I watched. Um she was talking about this case that I'm gonna get into for today. And so shout out to her if you want to watch that video where she goes more in depth with the story. I highly encourage you to watch it because that's where I got it from. So I want to give credit where credit is due. Also want to give credit to my mentor, Tiffany Buckner, because she, if not last year, I think it was the year before, she did one or two videos, maybe even a little bit more, on serial killers, and she was talking about like the spiritual aspect behind that. So that did inspire me. Even back then, I didn't actually do it, but like it inspired me to go more in depth with like, okay, people who commit these crimes, what's the spirit behind these crimes committed, and so on. So for this one, I want to talk about the case of I don't like to name cases after the offender. I feel like you should recognize the person who the victim, you should. So that's just my personal thing. So I always try to do that. So I want to say this is the case of Samantha Miller Hutchinson. And the reason why I'm saying Miller Hutchinson is because I just found out this was about 3 weeks ago. This came to light to the public that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, the public was put onto this that Samantha Hutchinson's mother, or Samantha Miller Hutchinson's mother, is fighting for the right to obtain her daughter's assets. So now she's battling, this is alleged, right? According to the news report that I saw, she's battling her son-in-law, who I guess she wouldn't consider a son-in-law, um, Eric Hutchinson, for the assets. For whatever it is that her daughter owns, she wants that. I think it's a multi-million dollar estate or something. I have to look into that. The reason why I don't have the info for that is because that's not what I'm getting into for today. But just to consider that out, she's saying, well, technically they didn't consummate the marriage, so is the marriage, she believes the marriage should be deemed illegitimate, you know, because they didn't have the opportunity to consummate the marriage. And she says she believes that that's what, well, allegedly, that's what Samantha would have wanted. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm not here to get into that. I do have my thoughts on that, but again, that's not, I want to stay on track. So this case really, it got me heated. It got me really heated. And I know I'm smiling, but no, I was like, actually, like, I was tight because I didn't really care for some of the things that Jamie Komorowski, the offender, what she was saying on the phone call, and I know I'm not the only one. So Jamie Komorowski, 25-year-old young lady who decided to go bar hopping. She got unbelievably drunk. I mean, according to her blood alcohol test, her levels were 0.261 when the blood alcohol level should be 0.08, right? Like that's the legal limit. That's the limit. So it was 3 times higher than what the legal limit should have been for her to drive, right? Now we all probably remember that from the taking our driver's test. To get your permit, they ask you that question. These are things that you should know, right? Um, so she decides that she's going to go bar hopping, and she's drinking and driving, drinking and driving, drinking and driving, until she runs into a golf cart. She was driving 65 miles down a residential street. Well, it may not, let me take that back, because I don't know if it's necessarily a residential street, but the speed limit was 25 miles per hour. She's driving 65 miles per hour in a car, and I'm going to go over this in the affidavit, in a car, and she hits a golf cart. In that golf cart is a couple, newlywed couple, just got married, having the time of their lives. They're over the moon, and that is Eric and Samantha Hutchinson. Eric's brother was also in there as well. And he was in the driver's seat. And so Eric and Samantha, they're sitting in the back of the golf cart. And boom, you have someone who their life, a new chapter in their life is beginning. And so they're going like this. And you have someone who's spiraling down with what she states is depression, anxiety, and addiction. And so their fates collide. One loses their life, one is in jail. Eric Hutchinson also was in critical condition. The brother was affected as well, but they both survived. Sources say that Eric, it was believed that he may not have survived, but he did. However, Samantha was pronounced dead on the scene. So I just want to give my condolences to the family, to Eric Hutchinson, just that's devastating. That's devastating. I can't even imagine, you know. And this is where some people who deal with addictions, right? Addictions of any sort, um, you want to be I mean, you want the person to be held accountable, but you want to be empathetic in a sense to someone who is like, man, I don't think she really meant to do it. But then you start to get into the mind of the person, which a lot of times you can't. But in this case, you actually can get into the mind of Jamie Komorowski because I guess she felt like, she was safe, nobody would hear it, but she unapologetically expressed how she felt and how she couldn't believe that this was happening to her. Now, I'm not going to show the videos here, but I'm going to post the link so you can see the videos of the phone conversation that she was having with her father. Her father, who apparently is well-to-do financially as well. So, um, there could be aspects of just her maybe feeling privileged, right? But when you hear the conversations that her father is having with her, she's saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? And he's saying, well, bad things happen to good people, honey. Bad things happen to amazing people. That's his answer to her. And this is where, like, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. You can tell from the conversation, I get the sense, right? I get the sense that this is how he's been raising his daughter. He has raised her to think that, the world revolves around her. She's kind of above the law. Like that's the energy that you get from the phone conversation that is posted. Right? Now again, I'm not saying that this is absolute. This is just the energy that you get. This is how it appears, right? Um, so what I want to focus on in this case is the spirit of Jezebel and narcissism. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about the Jezebel spirit, they think, still commonly believed, I believe, just based on what I hear a lot of people saying, that is it's based on, a woman who's the seductress and so on. And yes, there is a part of that. Like there is seduction, right? A lot of it comes with manipulation, trying to get people to just bend to their will. But it's not always sexual, right? It could be excessive crying, it could be flattery, it could be anything like that, so that you can view them in a certain way and you bend to their will. It can also be bullying, because the thing is, a Jezebel spirit is the narcissist, is the narcissistic spirit. Like it is narcissism. Narcissism is a big part of the Jezebel spirit, I should say, right? You tie that in with like witchcraft. That's where that goes. So I don't think I need to say it, but maybe I do. This is going to be very Christian based. This analysis, this breakdown, and any true crime that I do is going to be broken down. I'm going to pull out scriptures, but I'm also going to um, you know, maybe read, like in this case, I'm reading the affidavit for this, but yeah, so I try to go more in depth with the spiritual aspect as well as the legal aspect. That's kind of what I'm going for. Hopefully, I'm able to do that in this video smoothly. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna pull up the definition of narcissism first, right? So keep it in mind. that the Jezebel spirit is like the spirit of narcissism, okay? Um, or just narcissism in general. And also, I'm looking up there because I see the book Jezebelian. It's on my bookshelf. That's a book also that's by Tiffany Buckner. She has several videos on it, so go check that out to learn more about the Jezebel spirit. And also, other people that talk about Jezebel spirit. Vlad Safechuck has like a lot of videos. I believe he has one of Jezebel spirit. And I believe Apostle Ivory Hopkins has one as well. But don't quote me on that one. I'm gonna just share the ones that I know for a fact. And I'm gonna put the book Jezebelian Volume 1 and 2. Very good books. I'm gonna post that in the link to this video. So let's get into it. I'm gonna go into narcissistic personality disorder. This is mayoclinic.org, and I am going to share my screen. So here we go. Narcissistic personality disorder. Don't say nothing about all the tabs I have open. I don't think I have that many tabs open because I've had a lot more open before. So, narcissistic personality disorder. All right, so let's go through the overview. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need to seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others, but behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, and financial matters. People with narcissistic personality disorder may be generally unhappy and disappointed when they're not given the special favors or admiration that they believe they deserve. They may find their relationships troubled and unfulfilling, and other people may not enjoy being around them. Treatment for narcissistic personality disorder centers around talk therapy and also called psychotherapy. Narcissistic personality disorder affects more males than females, and it often begins in the teens or early adulthood. Some children may show traces of narcissism, but this is often typical for their age and doesn't mean they'll go on to develop narcissistic personality disorder. I'm gonna stop right there. So, yes, that is true. A lot of kids can show signs of being narcissistic. Kids are naturally egocentric, and that's just because they don't know any better. It's kind of been about them since they came out the womb. I mean, at least a healthy child with a healthy childhood, right? Everybody stops as soon as they cry, right? As they get older, they still think things are about them, and they start to show these signs when they can talk, so their toddler years into their preschool years. But this is where the parents have to correct their children, right? So now this is of course not advocating for abuse, right? Because sometimes people try to disguise um abuse as correction and things like that, but that's neither here nor there. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that, I'm talking about just discipline, right? So just correcting your child. And if a parent doesn't do that, their child can grow up to be a narcissist, right? Another way a child can grow up to be a narcissist is if their parents themselves are narcissistic and they learn from their parents. So while the parent can correct them, it will correct them and all that. If that parent is a narcissist and the child's watching them, that child can grow up to be a narcissist. So let's get into the symptoms. Okay. Symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder and how severe they are can vary. People with people with the disorder can have an unreasonably high self-sense. Let me start this over. Excuse me. Symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder and how severe they can vary. And how severe they are can vary. People with the disorder can have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require constant, excessive admiration, feel that they deserve privileges and special treatment, Expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements. Make achievements and talents seem bigger than they are. Be preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate. Believe they are superior to others and can only spend time with or be understood by equally special people. Be critical of and look down on people they feel are not important. Expect special favors or expect other people to do what they want without questioning them. Take advantage of others to get what they want. Have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. Be envious of others and believe others envy them. Behave in an arrogant way. Brag a lot and come across as conceited. Insist on having the best of everything. For instance, the best car or office. Okay. At the same time, people with narcissistic personality disorder have trouble handling anything they view as criticism. They can become impatient or angry when they don't receive special recognition or treatment, have major problems interacting with others, and easily feel slighted, react with rage or contempt, and try to belittle other people to make themselves appear superior, have difficulty managing their emotions and behavior, experience major problems dealing with stress and adapting to change, withdraw from or avoid situations in which they might fail, feel depressed and moody because they fall short of perfection, have secret feelings of insecurity, shame, humiliation, and fear of being exposed as a failure. Okay, I just want to just say this as a disclaimer. I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I am just, this is me being a viewer and an observer of this case and me sharing my opinion. That's it. All right, I want to get that mic up the camera. Okay. Um, I mean, it's there. Y'all know it's there, but I still want to try to not have that interview. Anyway, so I just want to give that as a disclaimer, okay? Like, I'm not saying that I am like I just have the authority to teach on narcissistic personality disorder. That's why I'm using the link from another site. Okay, this is Mayo Clinic, so I'm going off of that. Now, where do I see signs of this? Well, when you watch the video of the phone calls that she's having, Jamie Komorowski, that she's having with her father and her boyfriend, she is saying like, oh, why is this happening to me? I don't know why this is happening to me. When meanwhile she kills somebody, but she's like, I don't know why this is happening to me. And it just seems like it's such an inconvenience for her to face the music, right? Face the time and the consequences for what it is that she did because she was being careless. That's just the truth. Where was it? Because it jumped out at me. These are the symptoms. Bear with me. I may edit this part out because I'm kind of, this is taking up some time here, but Um, so like it was around here, right? So okay, this one have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. When you look at the video, there wasn't now there was a statement released that she said she felt remorseful, and you can see her like crying when they show her during if you go on Court TV, because a lot of the links that I post you're gonna see that there comes from Court TV. She's crying and everything, but I feel like just based on the conversation that she was having, she's crying for herself. I got the sense that she might have been crying for herself and not really for like the others around her, because her family's affected, the Hutchinsons are affected, the Millers are affected, and Samantha lost her life. Okay. Um, and then there's also the where she kind of seemed like she almost felt like she was above the law. But this is where I have to hold the parents accountable, because like the father was saying, oh, you know what they say, right? We have a team that basically he was insinuating that they have a really good team and there's a high probability that she could get off. That's how that came off. And you'll hear that in the video when I link it. Um so here, right, expect special favors and expect other people to do what they want without questioning them. This is where, her crying and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, why are they making such a big deal out of it?" And then even with the sheriff, because that was another thing, another case coming on. So there's like three different cases. There's this case, they're saying that they're gonna do a trial it's in March 2024, so this year in March. If you're following the case on Court TV, they talk about that. Um Then there's the mother saying that no, don't call Samantha Hutchinson, call her Samantha Miller. The marriage was not consummated, therefore it's illegitimate, and she should have the assets go to her. Um, and then there's the thing with the sheriff, like wondering, hey, was the sheriff kind of like giving her special treatment? So, if she was, she's saying, of course, obviously she's going to say she wasn't, but if she was giving Miss Komorowski special treatment, that would definitely add to why she would feel that she's supposed to get special treatment. There are other things I can get into as well, but I'm actually going to tell you to watch Rotten Mango because I just feel like she breaks it down so well. And I want to focus more on the spiritual aspect. And like I said, I want to give credit where credit is due. So, you know, watch her video. Watch her video on that. And then watch Tiffany Buckner's videos on the Jezebel spirit. I will link some in the description below as well. So now I want to get into how is the narcissist the Jezebel spirit, right? Now, they say it mostly affects men, whereas in the church we tend to say that it mostly affects women, like when we talk about Jezebel, right? But Jezebel spirit can be the man, okay? And I'm debating on doing another case where I'm like, Jezebel spirit might be in a man in this case, but I'm gonna have to pray about that because I just gotta pray about that one. Only because I don't know. I just it's one of those cases where it's in another country where, I mean, I don't live in that country, but I would like to visit that country just to kind of see what it's like and what it's about. And I like to travel. And so, I mean, I don't know if my little video would mean anything, but at the same time, some of these countries are very like strict on what you say and all of that. Again, I don't live in a country, but yeah, I'm gonna just leave that alone for now. Like I said, I'll pray about that one, or yeah, because yeah, there could potentially be a man with a Jezebel spirit in that case. Anyway, um I wanted to go into First Kings 21, kind of showing, now this is Jezebel and Ahab, right? So in the phone call, as Jamie is talking, she sounds like she may have the Jezebel spirit, and the father in that case, because I believe like it could definitely switch, right? Based on the case, based on the situation. But the father, it seems like he may have the Ahab spirit. I don't know. But just, him not holding her accountable, like he's enabling her, right? Um, So here I'm going to share my screen again, and here you'll see, and I would even say in this case, like Ahab is the one being a bit more narcissistic, but Jezebel is like, she's like top notch, like definitely narcissist. Okay. So First Kings 21, English Standard Version, this is Bible Gateway. Jezebel has Naboth killed. Naboth owned a vineyard. Oh, and I'm sorry, like if you don't like all this reading, it just is what it is. Like I'm just here to break it down, so I'll be doing quite a bit of reading. Jezebel has Naboth killed. Naboth owned a vineyard in Jezreel near King Ahab's palace. One day, Ahab said, Naboth, your vineyard is near my palace. Give it to me so I can turn it into a vegetable garden. I'll give you a better vineyard or pay whatever you want for yours. Naboth answered, This vineyard has always been in my family. I won't let you have it. So Ahab went home, angry and depressed because of what Naboth had told him. He lay on his bed, just staring at the wall and refusing to eat a thing. Let me just stop right here because he is right here. He's being very, this is like how Jamie was behaving. Oh, why me? He wouldn't give me the vineyard. And he thought, because he had the money and the resources, he thought, and he's king, he thought he could just say, hey, just give me your vineyard. And it wasn't about the money, right? Naboth said, no, this is no, this is something that has always been in my family. I'm not gonna give it to you. Excuse me. Sorry. He's like, it's always been in my family. I would drink water right now, but I drink like a gallon water and I haven't finished it yet, and there's still enough in it where I could use it to hold the microphone in place, the mic stand in place. That's literally why I'm not drinking water, because of that reason. If it gets crazy, I'll edit it out. But anyway, he's like, he went into victim mode, and it's just like, woe is him, because he can't have that vineyard, right? He could have anything else, but he can't have that vineyard. So he's upset and he's sad and he's staring at the wall. Oh, poor Ahab, right? So here it is, right? Um, 21 verse 5. Jezebel, his wife, came in and asked, What's wrong? Why won't you eat? I asked Naboth to sell me his vineyard, or to let me give him a better one, Ahab replied, and he told me I couldn't have it. He probably didn't say it like that, but I'm just like, that's how it comes off. Um, so Jezebel, this is 21 verse 7. Aren't you the king of Israel? Jezebel asked. Get out of bed and eat something. Don't worry. I'll get Naboth's vineyard for you. So this is sounding like how the father, when you watch the video, you will see the father saying like, hey, we're doing everything we can. And, we'll make sure that, um, like we're doing our best and to see if we can get you out, basically, right? Like we're doing our best to see if we can get you out of here, and the daughter's, she's crying, Jamie's crying, and she's saying, why me? And she's like, she's scared that she's gonna be in there forever. She's like, I can't. Like it's so much. Not once do you hear in that phone call that she feels sorry for the victim. Not once. Not, at least not the one, not the clips they're showing, right? So, all right, I'm gonna go further. Jezebel wrote a letter to each of the leaders of the town where Naboth lived. In the letter, she said, Call everyone together and tell them to go without eating today. When they come together, give Naboth a seat at the front. Get two liars to sit facing him and swear that Naboth has cursed God and the king. Then take Naboth outside and stone him to death. She signed Ahab's name to the letters and sealed them with his seal. Then she sent them to the town's leaders. So fast forward, they do have Naboth killed, right? I encourage you to read the rest of this, but I want to talk about that. So the thing about the Jezebel spirit is Jezebel does not move in order, right? So I know this is controversial for some people, especially if you're like, feminists, but whatever. This is what I believe. This is biblical. This is scriptural. This is also the Christian belief, and that's just what it is. So it's God is the head of Christ, Christ is the head of man, man is the head of woman, then you have the children, right? So Jezebel had no right to try to take Ahab's place to lead, but guess what? Ahab wasn't leading. Ahab was sitting down not eating and weeping and crying about not being able to have a vineyard. So as a result, Jezebel takes an innocent man's life just so that Ahab could have a vegetable garden. That's narcissistic. Okay. And so it's all about the narcissist. It's not about anyone who gets hurt in the process. Now, this is intentionally taking someone's life, right? And I'm sure Ahab knew Jezebel was going to have Naboth's life lost. And Jezebel didn't even do it at her own hands, but she took someone's life. So this is being careless and someone else suffers and loses their life. This is kind of like how JB's case is. Now, this is where I'm going to get into it because the family, it appears that they may be trying to get her on a first-degree murder charge, saying that she had intent to murder. As heartbreaking as this case is, I don't really see that happening, and here's why. So I'm gonna go into the 3 degrees of murder, or just the degrees of murder. So let me share my screen again. So the degrees, okay. I'm just gonna go here where there's the degrees of murder. So, first degree murder, any intentional killing that is willful and premeditated with malice, afterthought. Felony murder, a charge that may be filled against. Okay, I should probably just edit that out because that definitely says filed, not filled. Let me read this over because I don't think I even started off properly. First degree murder, and any intentional killing that is willful and premeditated with malice, afterthought. Felony murder, a charge that may be filed against a defendant who is involved in a dangerous crime where a death results from the crime, is typically first degree, but may also be second degree. Okay, so when they say a defendant who is involved in a dangerous crime where death results from the crime, they said it may also be second degree, but it's typically first degree. The biggest thing that makes first degree, which I think many know, but just in case you don't, is yes, there needs to be intent, but it also needs to be premeditated. So what the family is saying is like, well, Jamie knows that you shouldn't drink and drive, right? She's 25, she's not, degenerate or anything like that. Like yes, she deals with alcohol addiction, but at the end of the day, she's making a choice. And she made very careless and selfish choices, and she still intended to drive. Like all of this, it's like you had to intend to cause harm to someone's life is what they're saying, because they're like, well, she drank and she drank and she drank. Clearly, right? She was stumbling, and the last thing I'm gonna do is read the affidavit and you'll get to see. So according to the court documents, she and what they saw, she was being careless. Like this wasn't just one drink, 2 drinks. She got, excuse my French, but she got pee drunk. You know what I'm trying to say there. Like she got super, super duper drunk and got behind the wheel. And she was driving 65 miles per hour where the speed limit was 25 miles per hour. Okay. So they're like, she had to have some kind of intent to kill somebody. But the thing is, did she have the intent to kill Samantha? And was she like trying to commit some kind of mass murder? It's very hard to prove that, I believe. That's the only way I think you could get it, like where it's premeditated, where it's like, oh, she just wanted to go on a killing spree, basically. Right? Like somebody who drives through a crowd of people, that's first degree, right? That would definitely be considered first degree, I believe, unless they could argue for something else. Again, we're dealing with the American judicial system, and the judicial branch they interpret the laws, right? So we can interpret it one way as the public, but the judicial branch interprets the law. Now, we don't want to underestimate the power of public opinion, right? We do have power in our voice. That's the great thing about freedom of speech. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's murder of the first degree. Second degree murder, any intentional killing that is not premeditated or planned, right? A situation in which the killer intends only to inflict serious bodily harm, knowing this could result in death, but with no specific intent to kill. So it says constitutes depraved heart murder, which can be considered as second degree murder. All right, I hope I can do this before my battery dies. But anyway, so for example, now I don't know what he got convicted of in the movie because I actually hadn't seen the whole movie. Do not come at me for that. But in Juice, where he's like, "What you said about my mama?" and then he killed the lady. I think he killed both the store owners. Honestly, like in that sense, well, I guess you could say he did have the intent to kill, so maybe that's not a good idea. But let's just say, you got two people in the street, right? And somebody's talking about they say, they mama's this, they mama that, and the person gets upset, and then they start maybe they shoot the person, in the leg, and the person bleeds out and they die. Or they're beating the person, is beating them, going and decking them. And then they die, right? So that would be like second degree. And then you got voluntary manslaughter. And this is just my understanding of it. So sometimes called crime of passion. So murder and let me start over. Voluntary manslaughter, sometimes called a crime of passion murder and informally called third degree murder. This is any intentional killing that involves no prior intent to kill and which was committed under such circumstances that would cause a reasonable person to become emotionally or mentally disturbed. Both this and second degree murder are committed on the spot under the spur of the moment choice, but the two differ in magnitude of the circumstances surrounding the crime. For example, a bar fight that results in death would ordinarily constitute as second degree murder. If that same bar fight stemmed from a voluntary, where do I see voluntary? Forgive me, y'all. If that same bar fight stemmed from a discovery of infidelity, however, it may be voluntary manslaughter, right? So they pretty much give the example right there. So spur of the moment, but the magnitude of the circumstance surrounding it. So if you have a woman and a boyfriend and then her child, right? And she finds out that her boyfriend hurt her child, like essayed her child or something. And she finds out, she blacks out and she kills him. Voluntary manslaughter, murder of the third degree, but it'll be voluntary manslaughter, right? They also go further, like if you go further down, and I guess I'll get into that, but like some states, like Florida, do not differentiate between voluntary and involuntary. Just manslaughter is manslaughter, right? So involuntary manslaughter, a killing that stems from a lack of intention to cause death, but involving intentional acts of negligence, which may or may not be premeditated, leading to death. A drunk driving related death is typically involuntary manslaughter, right? So you can also see all these other things like vehicular homicide, caused death by dangerous driving, gross negligence manslaughter, and causing death by criminal negligence for international equivalents, okay? So note that the unintentional element here refers to a lack of intent to bring about death. Okay, all three crimes above feature the intent to kill, whereas involuntary manslaughter is unintentional because the killer did not intend for death to result did not intend for death to result from their intentional actions. If there is a presence of intention, it relates only to the intent to cause a violent act which brings about death. but not intention to bring about death itself. Okay, so here it says, however, there are exceptions such as felony murder and depraved heart murder, and the latter of which can be considered as voluntary manslaughter or second-degree murder instead of involuntary manslaughter, despite the lack of explicit intention to kill. Okay, where was the part where they talked about Florida? Because I read that. I might, if I don't see it off the cuff, like I'm not gonna go into it. Because I did read that where they said some states don't. Oh yeah, right here. Right here, down here. It says some states classify murders differently. In Pennsylvania, first-degree murder encompasses premeditated murders, second-degree murder encompasses accomplice liability, and third-degree serves as a catch-all for other murders. In New York, first-degree murder involves special circumstances, such as the murder of a police officer or witness to a crime, multiple murders, or murders involving torture. Under this system, second-degree murder is any other premeditated murder. Oh, okay, it was down here. But anyway, so yeah, here it says that, the New York statutes also recognize murder for hire as first-degree murder. Texas uses a scheme similar to New York's, but refers to first-degree murder as capital murder, a term which typically applies only to those crimes that merit the death penalty. Some states, such as Florida, do not separate the two kinds of manslaughter. So anyway, this took place in South Carolina. So I think South Carolina pretty much falls under these general categories of murder. So this is, thank you, Wikipedia. I know some people say don't use Wikipedia. It's not that much of a credible source, but I felt like it broke it down this way. Or not that it's not a credible source. Well, yes, because they're like different people add to it. And you want to go to like the actual links that they use, but I think this will do for this. Um, so I don't know if she would get first degree, and honestly, as much as I don't agree with her actions, I don't think she deserves like to be um charged for murder of the first degree. I don't think that the crime warrants that, as painful as it is. And that's just me speaking as a viewer. I'm not in the family. I'm not in either family. And as honest as I want to be about this case, I do also want to be sensitive to the fact that there are two grieving families here and a lost life and someone who is battling addiction. Um, she does need help. She needs a lot of help. I just don't see the desire for the help right now or the maturity for the help right now based on those videos, and I don't see remorse based on those videos. So I think that's what has a lot of people upset, myself included, um, when it comes to that. Very unfortunate. Last thing I'm going to get into is the affidavit. I think it just gives an overall view of what the cops saw and, what happened that night. So I'm going to read through it. So here's the affidavit. So this is a cop. It's very hard. It looks like it says DC Burke, like the writing, it looks a little weird there. But anyway, you can see that this happened in South Carolina, Charleston County. So says, personally appear before me, a magistrate of this county, one that, if y'all know what that is, let me know, okay? Who first being duly sworn, deposes and says that. So this, I believe that's the name of the officer, right? So maybe he signed his name there. Maybe that's what that is. Okay. So maybe that's Officer Burke or something like that. Yeah. So Jamie Komorowski did within this county state on or about the 29th day of April 2023 violate the criminal laws of the state of South Carolina in the following particulars. So here's a description of the offense: reckless vehicular homicide, and rightfully so. On April 28th, 2023, at 22:16 hours, so this is 10:16, I responded to the 1200 block of East Ashley Avenue in reference to a vehicle accident with injuries. Upon arrival, I observed a large crash scene with a golf cart on its side up against a gray Toyota Camry bearing Nevada tag, and there goes the license plate number. So this is a Toyota Camry hitting a golf cart. And y'all know what the golf carts look like, right? Like, if you look at that golf cart, Toyota Camry, that's a lot, okay? I observed multiple victims who were laying throughout the crash site. I don't know if that buzz, I don't think it's loud enough, but I don't know if that like would ruin the sound. Like you guys would hear that if there's anyone watching this video. Um, okay. So yeah, I observed multiple victims who were laying throughout the crash site. I established command and started to relay scene information as far as number of patients, etc. As I triaged all patients, I located Samantha Hutchinson, who was not breathing and no pulse. I also located Garrett and Eric Hutchinson. So I believe Garrett is Eric's brother, I believe. Um, all patients were in and out of conscious. So I focused life-saving measures on Samantha Hutchinson, but she was pronounced deceased on the scene. Okay, so this is unfortunate. So this is the part I wanted to just get into here with Jamie's behavior. So it says once all medical care was rendered, which was also rendered to Jamie, who did not have any injuries, I switched hats and started the DUI investigation with the driver, Jamie Komorowski. As I made contact with Jamie, I smelled an odor of alcohol coming from her breath and person. I asked Jamie if she had anything to drink, and she stated that she had one beer and a drink with tequila about an hour ago. And then asked on a scale of 1 being completely sober and 10 being the most impaired, she stated she was an 8. It should be noted that she stated on the scene that she was the one driving the listed vehicle. Officer Honeycutt overheard this as well. Also, her ID was recovered from Jamie's purse, which was located with the vehicle. So she kind of incriminated herself there, but she was intoxicated. So I'm sure if she wasn't intoxicated and wasn't under the influence, she probably wouldn't have said that, but she did. And so it's clear that I mean on a scale of 1 to 10, she said she was 8. That's still pretty bad. And then the blood alcohol levels being 0.261. You'll see that in the news reports. I don't believe I saw it written here in this affidavit. If you want to read the rest of this, I'm gonna post this in the chat as well. This is from amazonnews.com. I was able to find it. So yeah. This is a lot. There's just a lot going on here, and there's a lot going on with this case. My prayers go out to both families. Um, I pray for healing for both of the families, and I just pray that Jamie is able to grow and just she needs deliverance. Honestly, she needs deliverance from alcoholism and she does need help. The thing is just has she learned her lesson? And what's the chances of her doing this again? Currently, she has not been released on bond. And I don't think those phone calls, since they had come out, um, help her. And, you know, she could, if she, does not understand what she did wrong, or if she keeps looking at it from the woe is me point of view, which is kind of what it seems like, then she could be a danger to society. I never want to speak ill of a person, alive or dead, but I always want to tell the truth, and that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. So, you know, I'm gonna stay up on this crime. Hopefully, I could not crime case. I mean, the crime was committed, but the case, hopefully I'm able to stay up on it and give updates here as well. But that's it. If you watched it, thank you for watching. If you learned something, um, I pray that that's something that you can take with you, whether it's about the Jezebel spirit or just learn about a new case. Um, if you like this, comment. If you hated it, comment. And if you like the video in general, like it, subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more of these. And let me know, what it is that you may have liked about this style or not liked about it. I know I did a lot of reading, but that's kind of how I want to do it. I kind of always want to do like a deep dive in these cases, and hopefully they're very informative. And if you're a true crime fan like me, maybe I'll do some reaction videos to like other true crime channels and stuff like that. Anyway, that's it. God bless you. Love you and stay safe. Bye.